सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ओम नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो ऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। ओम ओम नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। समस्तब्रह्मविद्या आचार्येभ्यो नमः ऋषिभ्यो नमः मुनिभ्यो नमः गुरुभ्यो नमः देवताभ्यो नमः। ओम श्री वेदव्यास वैशंपायन याज्ञवल्क्य आद्य शंकराचार्यवर्यादिगुरुभ्यो नमः अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। ओम अथ तैत्तिरीयोपनिषद पारायणं। We will be chanting Tritiya Bhruguvalli, seventh mantra, Anna Brahmopasana for our chanting. So every day, I need not say whether we are saying Omkara mantra, whether we are chanting the Guru Parampara mantra of Namo Brahmadibhyaha, or chanting mantra of Dakshinamurti or Adi Shankara. Every time, each of us have to bring our attention to these great masters, gurus, and then with total devotion, we pray to them not only to make today's class fruitful and successful, but our entire life should be fulfilled in reaching our pursuit of Absolute. In this way, unless we pray every day and invoke their grace, we will be not able to understand, focus, do, and reach to our ultimate goal. Now chanting Om Annam Nanindyat Tadvratam Prano Va Annam Shariramannadam Prane Shariram Pratishtitam Sharire Prana Pratishthitaha Tadetadannamanne Pratishtitam Saya Etadannamanne Pratishtitam Veda प्रतितिष्ठति अन्नवानन्नादो भवति महान् भवति प्रजया पशुभिर्ब्रह्मवर्चसेन महान् कीर्त्या अन्नं न परिचक्षित तद्व्रतम् आपो वा अन्नं ज्योतिरन्नादम् अप्सु ज्योतिः प्रतिष्ठितम् ज्योतिष्याप प्रतिष्ठिताः तदेतदन्नमन्ये प्रतिष्ठितं स य एतदन्नमन्ये प्रतिष्ठितं वेद प्रतितिष्ठति अन्नवानन्नादो भवति महान् भवति प्रजया पशुभिर्ब्रह्मवर्चसेन महान् कीर्त्या अन्नं बहुकुर्वीत तद्व्रतं पृथिवी वा अन्नम् आकाशोन्नादः पृथिव्यामाकाश प्रतिष्ठितः आकाशे पृथिवी प्रतिष्ठिता तदेतदन्नमन्ये प्रतिष्ठितं स य एतदन्नमन्ये प्रतिष्ठितं वेद प्रतितिष्ठति अन्नवानन्नादो भवति महान् भवति प्रजया पशुभिर्ब्रह्मवर्चसेन महान् कीर्त्या ओम शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ओम अथ श्रीकृष्ण यजुर्वेदान्तर्गत तैत्तिरीय आरण्यक अंतर्गत तैत्तिरीय उपनिषत् प्रथमा शिक्षावल्ली। ओम यस्मात् जातं जगत् सर्वं यस्मिन्नेव प्रलीयते येनेदं धार्यते चैव तस्मै ज्ञानात्मने नमः। यैरिमे गुरुभिः पूर्वं पदवाक्यप्रमाणतः व्याख्याताः सर्ववेदान्ताः तान् नित्यं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। तैत्तिरीयकसारस्य मयाचार्यप्रसादतः विस्पष्टार्थरुचीनां हि व्याख्येयं सम्प्रणीयते। अथ प्रथमोऽनुवाकः शान्तिमन्त्रः। ॐ शन्नो मित्रः शं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः। नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतो तद्वक्तारमवतो अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम्। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। Having saluted all the rishis, munis, gurus, Vedavyasa, Vaishampayana, Yajnavalkya, Adya Shankara ityadi, we are into the Taittiriya Upanishad, Shashtama Anuvakaha, Prathama Siksha Valli. Let us always remember that the Vedantic Shastra Adhyanam of Upanishads gives us, through all logics, what is the ultimate goal to be reached, to get liberated once for all from all the limitations. Having understood the goal, the Brahma Tattva, with all logics, after studying the Upanishads, to reach to that experience, we have to do the sadhana. And in that sadhana, though the ultimate one is just being established in the self, before that, to come to that highest level of qualification for doing that highest sadhana to abide in the self. Whatever the doings we have done earlier, all that doings we have to undo. That undoing processes are the other three sadhanas other than this Vedantic Jnanam. The three sadhanas of the Karma Yoga, the sadhana of the Bhakti Yoga, the sadhana of the Ashtanga Yoga, along with living the life of Dharma in the world outside, is an inevitable, very essential life to be lived by every one of us to qualify to reach the goal indicated by the Vedanta. Without doing consciously Karma Yoga to achieve its purpose of purification inside, we will not even come to class, not even will have the ability to concentrate, not even will be succeeding in understanding what the Guru said, even as simple things also. In the same way, without doing sufficient upasana, which is being taught here in this particular Upanishad right from the beginning, will be not able to really eliminate the wrong notions which we had, wrong ideas which we had, or insufficient knowledges taken as sufficient and complete knowledge, and we were living that ignorance as wisdom. Those things will not go away. We will not be aware of the phenomena that are happening within and without, and the infinite power behind all this happening, the existence of that, we will not be able to cognize without this upasana prakriyas. And the invocation of that devatas through upasana is the only one by which our faculties become powerful and strong enough to consistently do the Vedanta Vichara. In the same way, without doing the Ashtanga Yoga sadhana, the habitual running of the mana, the habitual unnecessary analysis of the buddhi of the world, the habitual formation of the memories of all experiences in the chitta cannot be avoided. Without that, the obstructions continuously will be there for even millions of lives, not allowing us to become deep introverted within ourselves to reach to the core of ourselves. Therefore, all sadhanas in life are to be understood, their position to be understood, and we should definitely practice them. Sadhana is always integral, and none of the karma, bhakti, ashtanga can indicate to us ultimate goal as greatly beautifully as the Vedanta teaches us. And without these three sadhanas practiced, Vedantic information remains only as information. We will be far away as if the earth is, as much as the earth is distant from the sun. So much would be our life distant from the actual experience of mukti as indicated by the Upanishad, the Vedanta. And all is done only when I become conscious and aware of my own inner personality at this very moment and at the every moment. And where am I getting lost in? Is my antakarana lost in the nidra, the Muda Bhumika, Kshipta Bhumika, or is it in half understanding or confusion, or is it running into the unwanted channel so much? Every time this diagnosis of the mind's disease with regard to spiritual sadhana, we have to do. Having done the diagnosis of where my mind is, accordingly, I have to treat it with that particular sadhana. This conscious awareness is called spiritual growth. And in that, what are the one of the important thing is what? Slowly withdrawing our attention from anything and everything in the world onto ourselves. Just like an extremely selfish person, at everything's cost or everything outer, he only focuses on his own personal profits of money or indulgences, which is not correct as regard the Vyavahara is concerned. You and I who have cleared all our debts of the Vyavahara, cleared all the obligations and duties of Vyavahara, no more involved in anything and being in the world except focusing ourselves fully on our own sadhana. This is an inevitable, unavoidable stage we have to reach to. This is what all the rishis munis have decided, that I have to do sadhana for myself to reach to myself. Therefore, they duly, with all the proper things done, have cut off their relativity of the world and went into the jungles or the ashramas, and only in those laboratories that they can experiment on or do research of their own inner self. With so many things taken into importance and involved in, we will not be able to become introverted sufficiently to inquire. And with every our involvement too much in the world, we will be creating more habits of involving in the world, more vasanas of the world, which definitely will become again obstructions when we are doing the sadhana of Viveka Vairagya, sadhana of the Upasana or the contemplation. So, the three things today understood are: one is Vedanta alone indicates the ultimate goal. Second is, unless we prepare ourselves through the other sadhanas or the dharma or the seva or the punya or bhakti or karma yoga or ashtanga yoga, without all these sadhanas, what Vedanta taught, to experience that we will not have sufficient strengths or abilities or preparations or qualifications or purifications. Second one. And third one is, to do this, we have to become more responsible for our own selves, more responsible for our own life's progress. So, for that, we have to take ourselves into confidence all the time. And what is happening within me? Is it correct according to sadhana? What should be done by me inside me to really practice and reach to the sadhana which I studied and understood from the Upanishads? So, this is called spirituality. This taking responsibility, this minding one's own antakarana and recognizing its position and accordingly doing the required sadhanas to be progressing on the path is a fully grown up, matured spiritual person. And one of the things which calls for it is most important thing is our attending to ourselves more, reducing our attention to anything. This is what from the Pururava story or from any of the stories we learn. Even Rama and Sita, he minded his own purity, his own self, therefore he left Sita. Sita said, enough of Rama and everyone, I am going to my earth. Ultimately, everybody will have to focus on their own development, their own sadhana. If this really clicks, no, we are the most lucky ones. And that will happen only after a sufficient inquiry into the world and its nature to be unstable, to be mithya, to be imaginary and projected, to be ever leaving us and going. The world never remains with us all the time. It leaves, it comes for some time, dances in front of us, makes us to dance to its tunes. By the time we develop the affinity with that world, expectations from the world, some desires with the world. By the time it is done, the world says bye and goes away. Nobody will stay with us. Please remember, we are left all alone. Then at that time, what do we do? If you have so many attachment with the things and beings, and nobody is around you, other than frustration, nothing will be there in our life. With all the life lived so long, if we are with frustration and depression dying, then we have done nothing only. Therefore, before that situation, which is definitely going to come, we have to learn the art of becoming extremely busy in our own personal business of knowing the truth with all these sadhanas. उसमें इतना बिजी होना चाहिए like every businessman becomes busy in his business, every professional becomes busy in that way. We also have to so much engrossed in this, reading the books, understanding the ideas, then analyzing them in our life, then doing whatever to be done practically, and in between, whenever we are tired and exhausted, going to the feet of the Lord and the Guru in that simple devotion and surrender, asking them to, praying them to bless us with all the powers, all the knowledges, all the strengths and convictions, taking the name, doing the upasanas, doing the pranayamas, doing our stotra patanam. All of them are the only obligations we should have whenever we are tired of the pursuit spiritual. Other than Guru, God, Shastra, Satsanga, Sadhyaya, Sadhana, and Laksha to reach the Atmanubhuti, all else should be consciously, deliberately reduced and devalued to the extent of requirement to sustain in this Deha, in this Loka. To that level, when we reach, then we'll be able to do the sadhana properly and enjoy doing, definitely leading to the result. Else living at the mind level, and mind is full of all the worldliness, and world is never in our catch or control. Nothing but anxieties, nothing but excitements, nothing but the guilts and regrets, nothing but the disappointments, frustrations. This would be our lot in spite of all the shastra studied, Upanishad studied. थियरी थियरी है, प्रैक्टिस प्रैक्टिस है, बिना प्रैक्टिस का थियरी फल नहीं देता. So this is what today, little Gambhira but Ati Mukhya Vishayam, we try to understand to proceed in our spiritual sadhana. Nobody goes with us after all. Nobody came with us when we entered this life. And whoever are living, we see them in front of our eyes. Nobody goes with them. अकेले आना अकेला जाना पड़ता है. Therefore, in between coming and going, we will involve with everything being as much as required, not to the extent of distracting us in our main goal of spiritual sadhana and Paramatma Prapti. If this much we grow, we are the great helpers to ourselves. And not it is not at all easy, we know. The intellect justifying so many things. You have to be here and it's so comfortable, they are taking care of me, I am loving them. एक नहीं हजारों चीजें जिसमें एक भी झूठ नहीं है, सब सच है. But those worldly such only binds us from the real such. The worldly truth of everybody loving us, kind to us, and without them life is difficult for us. All worldly truths. But because they are worldly truths, they never appear to be the obstructions for the spiritual truth. Therefore, it is so difficult. Is it not? Not at all easy. Even to start thinking, also, it is not easy. Forget about understanding and getting conviction and fully withdrawing from everything and, and attempting only for one's own sadhana. But an idea, a thought is given. If not this life, maybe after 10 lives. Also, we have to reach to that stage, you and me, for every one of us. Then only the inner gates for the spiritual heavens will be open to us. With all this study, we are only have reached up to the outer gate of Mata Vaishno Devi or Badri or Kedar. And that's why you can see when you are standing in the outer gate, God is not experienced nor seen, but all the people who are waiting outside like us, they only are seen. Okay? In our life also, with all our study of Shastra, the truth is not seen by us, the God, but the outer gate में जो खड़े हैं, the बाकी लोग दुनियादारी, वही हमको दिख रहा है अभी भी. Only when we are true, sincere, then the gates are open. When the gates are opened, only the divine is seen. No thing, no being other than that. First goal is to reach the divinity and see. From there, again, when you look back, everything is seen as that divine only. Therefore, you will never miss the divinity anywhere. When the divinity is pursued, all the earlier ways of life, which were appearing to be true, so much meaningful, so much giving happiness, etc., they're all found to be the wrong notions. The world which was giving happiness, satisfaction, along with so many troubles, difficulties. ये सारा एक सिनेमा ही था. It was not real. Real is only Bhagavan. That stage we should reach, we will reach when we diligently, slowly but steadily pursue everything. Okay. Now into the sixth Anuvaka we are in that Dahara Akasha में स्थित जीव को पकड़ने वाला विद्या. And that Jiva himself, theoretically, Purushaha, Manomayaha, Amrutamayaha, Hiranyamayaha. So, in that theoretical four stages, practically we have to accept him at this stage as Purushaina Purushaha. And as a goal, we have to accept him as Purnatvat Purushaha. And at the sadhana level, discover him as a Manomaya. And in that Manomayata, discover that he is Amrutamaya, going from one deha to the other without dying. Then discover him to be the substratum of the entire universe, and that entire universe substratum is the Hiranyamayaha, the conscious self itself. At last, what is to be found? Everything is pure conscious existing self, and nothing other than that is reality. It may appear, it may have a transactional value, it may be useful in the Vyavahar. Yet, our focus is on the reality. That alone is real, everything other than that is projection on that. To that stage, we have to reach. And all this effort to understand is also upasana. Effort to be convinced about it also is upasana. Effort to reach to that state of being is also upasana. So, in the Hridaya Akasha, there is Purusha. This listening itself is Upasana. And reaching to that understanding is an Upasana. And slowly experiencing that Purushatva of ours, that I am a Jiva, devoid of, detached from Annaprana Manomaya, is a great Upasana. That is a very powerful Maya which makes us take the Annaprana Mana to be me. This was a practice going on from so many lives. Therefore, unless we detach from these three, know that they are only our apparatus or the instruments for the vyavahara, for the sadhana. Other than that, be attentive. Other than that, I don't have the real affinity attachment to these three koshas. Other than the utility value and sadhana value, any affinity of ownership or identity, that is the cause of bondage. That is the bondage. That's the meaning of discovering the Purusha exclusive in the heart, detached from these three koshas, in the true understanding that they are always detached, they are not me. In the not inquiring stage, I felt and took them to be me and went on living life, only taking them as me. And to understand this, you have to take the other text of Drukdursha Viveka Ityadi. He to me and to my Deha Adi, because of regular utilization, an unseen affinity happens in the form of attachment called as Atmiyata. Like anybody gives you so much, loves you so much, helps you so much, then a type of affinity develops inside called as Atmiyata. It is not shown, it is not seen, it is not any bondage with any thread or anything, but अंदर ऐसा हो जाता है, though that person is somebody other than us, is it not? लेकिन एक आत्मीय भाव होता है. Same happens with these three upadhi. This is what happened from millions of lives. Therefore we are living life only as if they are real, or the life through them alone is real or complete. As a result, we are forgetting or totally leaving the ultimate reality, the truth. So this we have to recognize. All this is upasana only. Then the further ones, we have explained that. Now the Saya Eshwanta Hridaya Akasha say, we have up to see in Amruto Hiranmayaha, Antarena Taluke also, we have given some details. Today we will complete that with the Bhashyam. Let us chant the mantra first. Om Saya Eshontara Hridaya Akashah Tasminnayam Purusho Manomayah Amruto Hiranmayah Antarena Taluke Ya Eshastana Ivavalambate Sendrayonihi Yatra Sauke Shanto Vivartate Vyapohya Shirshakapale भूरित्यग्नौ प्रतितिष्ठते भुव इति वायौ सुवरित्यादित्ये मह इति ब्रह्मणि आप्नोति स्वराज्यौ आप्नोति मनसस्पतिं वाक्पतिश्चक्षुष्पतिः श्रोत्रपतिर्विज्ञानपतिः एतत्ततो भवति आकाशशरीरं ब्रह्म सत्यात्मप्राणारामं मन आनन्दं शान्तिसमृद्धममृतम् इति प्राचीनयोग्योपास्व. Beautiful mantras. If only we have the deep intellection and our attentiveness, then the sublime meanings, knowledges of this are revealed, and knowing the meaning of Upanishad mantras and the meaningfulness in them itself is a great joy. Then if we take that as the goal and follow the means respective, and really we reach out it, the ultimate is gained. And gatva na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. So we have seen up to Shestonuvakame. We have seen the thing here. Manute anena iti va manaha antakaranam tad abhimani tanmaya tallingo va amrutaha amarana dharmaha hiranmayaha jyotirmayaha. So amrutaha, why that amrutaha? We have explained it because the reflection is never real, therefore it is never dying. A real thing alone can be expected to die. An imagination can never die because it's an imagination. It only appearance and disappearance. It is an appearance, not a birth. Therefore, it only disappears and it is not a death. From this jiva standpoint, from the reflection of my face on the mirror standpoint, the reflection is amrita, because it is only imagination or projection. projection of the bimba as pratibimba on the surface of the mirror. It's not an actual real thing. Why it's not an actual real thing? Like we spoke in Mandukya Upanishad about the alata shanti, to that reflection. Other than seeing it, you can't do anything with it. Can you catch that reflection in the mirror directly? Can you set up the face that is there in the mirror, which has got something to be set up? You can't do anything on that. That is why it is imagination. Like you can't do anything on the snake. That is why it's imagination. You can't do anything with the mirage water. It's imagination. You can't do anything with the silver on the shell. That was imagination. So it is that way Amrutaha. And the cause of it is the real Bimba, the original self. Therefore, the original self naturally is Amrutaha. That is our goal. And Hiranyamayaha is of the pure conscious self nature only. The same Purusha in his essential nature. And Hiranyamayaha from the Jiva standpoint is always in all the three planes of consciousness for that matter, he, especially in Jagra Swapna Avastha, Hiranyamaya means he is always aware of something as his knowledge. Knowledge of some or the other thing other than him, he has always has. That knowledge aspect can be taken here as the word Hiranyamaya. So, from the absolute truth standpoint, Hiranyamaya means pure conscious self. From the Jiva standpoint, he is always of the knowledge of something or the other. That is Hiranyamaya. So, too, Amritaha is from the absolute standpoint, the self can never be touched by the Kala, therefore it is Amrita. From the Jiva standpoint, the Amrita thought to him is he is imaginary projection, not a real. Therefore, because he is neither born, therefore he nor dies. And all these words we have to be clearly understanding. And then it is we who have to recognize ourselves to be that. That effort is called upasana. Right now, whatever the Vedanta is heard, for us, our identity and our lifestyle is aham dehosmi. ये भूत, ये पिशाचम, ये प्रेत हमको इतना पकड़ के रखा है. That's why unless we do all the required sadhanas to detach our identity from these upadhis, we will never be able to understand the higher, subtler things. Anybody, there are no reservations in that. Therefore, we have to be conscious about continuous contemplation on this to get detached from the lower upadhis, to get identified with the jiva bhava, and that jiva slowly detaches from individual upadhi, identify with the total. Thereafter, from the total upadhi also it transcends to know the total oneself. हो गया. यहाँ बताने के बाद नौ अंतरेण तालुके इत्यादि मंत्र. For that, Bhagavan Adi Shankara gives it 3-4 lines of Sambandha Bhashyam. To this Purusha who is discovered in the heart, how he had to detach from this particular Panchakosha Tadatmya and get identified with the Samashtya totality. It's a process. The individual has to merge in total, then only the substratum which is behind the individual and total will be recognized, because the individual has come from the total. तो इसको उसमें मर्ज करके ही फिर परमात्मा में हमको प्रवेश होता है. So what he says in the introduction, he say tasya evam lakshanasya hridaya akashe sakshat kritasya vidushaha atmabhutasya indrarupasya idrusha sarupa pratipattaye margaha avidhiyate. See, it is little difficult, tough, but a beautiful, complete thing. Tasya, of that Purusha, evam lakshanasya, who is of these 4 qualities. Purushaha, Manomayaha, Amrutaha, Hiranmayaha. Of him, Hrudaya Akashe Sakshat Kritasya, whom we have done the Sakshatkara in our Hridaya. Of this Purusha, Vidushaha, of this Vidushaha Sadakaha, Atmabhutasya, Indrarupasya, who is actually the self only, but now recognized as the Jiva there. Indra Rupasya Idrusha Sarupa Pratipattaye, to be able to recognize his essential self. Before that, as a step, Margaha Avidiyate. The marga, the path by which this jiva, having been recognized by us as jiva in the Hridaya Akasha, the marga by which if he travels, he recognizes himself to be beyond all the upadhis. That marga is given here. So, what is theoretically said, to experience him practically, what the marga or the upasana has to be done, that is shown here. So, who is discovered? The Purusha. Where? In the Hridaya Akasha. In his essential nature, who is he? Amrutaha Hiranmaya. Right now, what is he? Manomaya. So, the recognition of Purusha and finding him to be at present as Manomaya, but actually he is Hiranmaya and Amrutamaya. To recognize that Hiranmayatva and Amrutamayatva, the marga is Nirdeshita. Here, the path is shown. The path of Yoga Marga, in fact. So, Vedanta is the goal, and the Yoga Marga is the sadhana here. And actually, practically, the rishis, munis do that. And at the high level of contemplative sages, only of the again of the pure Vedantic sadhana, they will observe all this automatically happening. But it is very rare, like Adi Shankara level of people only can do. For all of us, the attempts of all these types of sadhanas in the beginning are inevitable, then only we become more and more qualified. I read again. Tasya evam lakshanasya hridaya akashe sakshat krutasya vidushaha. Of that Purusha who is recognized as Manomaya Purusha in the Hridaya. Atma Bhutasya Indra Rupasya, who is none other than the Amruta Purusha and Hiranyamaya Purusha. Idrusha Swarupa Pratipataye, to actualize or experience him like that, Margaha Vidiyate, the path is shown. So, in that path, be attentive. I have to lift my identity from the Deha Tadatma Jiva or Jiva Bhava to that the higher, step by step. That is the purpose of these next mantras of Antarena Taluke Eshaha Stana Iva Avalambate Saha Indra Yonihi Yatra Asau Keshantaha Vivartate Vyapohya Shirsha Kapale. This is the whole sadhana. Then the siddhi of that is what? Purityagnav pratitishthate bhuvariti vayau suvarityaditye mahiti brahmani apnoti swarajyam apnoti manasaspatim vakpatischakshuspatihi srotravatir vijnana bhavapatihi. These are all the achievements when we transcend from individual upadhis. And while doing the transcendence of the individual upadhis, when we do the upasana on the substratum of each of the individual upadhi, we get identified with the total. So we are in the individual vyahrutis. Okay, when we reject out of this individual the panchakosha yukta deha, whichever the vyahruti we have done the upasana of, the substratum of that vyahruti, we get identified with that. That is the Falashruti set. And if that is happening, then we are really doing this inner upasana. And that one who is identified the total, that total rejected, then Brahma Asmi will be experienced. Now what he says in the Bhashya, let us say, see one by one. Hrudayat urdhvam pravrutta sushumna nama nadi yoga shastreshu prasiddha. देखो Bhagavan Adi Shankara, who is Advaita Vedanta Pravakta, is explaining to us about this Yoga Prakriya Sadhana. And yesterday we touched upon it. In detail, that Shastra I have not studied, therefore I cannot explain, but this much is understood that exactly behind through our this spinal cord, not at the physical level, but in a subtle level, there are these three nadis. We are interwoven like the South Indian women when they put their jata, the ball, है ना, एक center वाला लगाकर, then the other two they woven around that. Then it appears to be a three. The center is there, the other two are around it going on, going on. You look at them. Same way, the Sushumna is in the center, the Ida and Pingala are there below, both are the other side, through which our entire activity happens when we are not the spiritual seekers, seekers of the truth. And at that level of living life only in Ida Pingala, we are absolutely Dehosmi Bhava. And through all the sadhanas told by gurus and known by us and done by us, slowly we enter into the Sushumna. And having entered into the Sushumna Nadi, the journey in the Sushumna Nadi, as we go up and up and up, and that journey is when we do the sadhanas. When the sadhanas are done, the journey of the jiva in the Sushumna Nadi happens from the bottom to the upper and upper. As he growing from the lower chakras to the upper ones, what he will experience is he is getting detached from this sthula upadhis. If he is not getting detached from Sthulopadhi, is only a Sthulopadhi. So his journey has not started from the Mooladhara up above into this Nadi Sushumna for going through all the crossings of each of the chakra. That's why in this world you can see the people who are not at all worried about the Deha. And we are so much attached to that. That means what? Through that person, he doesn't know, but for because of many lives of upasanas of various types, knowingly, unknowingly done, he has risen above that. He's not worried at देह की बात ही होता है नहीं चिंता नहीं उनको पता नहीं है technically they don't know but practically they have transcended the annamaya kosha that means they have crossed the mooladhara. Is it not that there are people who are really working for the sake of the totality, not for their own individual sake? That means what? They are no more in the Swadhisthana chakra also. They have transcended to the higher one. And there are people who are loving everyone just like that in their heart. सबका भलाई चाहने वाले, सबको प्रेम करने वाले, सबको क्षमा करने वाले. They are said to be, now they are in the Manipura chakra they started. And those people who love all as their own self. Just like that, कोई कुत्ता देखते हैं, पेड़ को देखते हैं, everyone they see a type of affinity they have naturally. That is called they are at the anahata chakra in the heart. They don't know it, but they are slowly rising in that way. And then those who are now individuality, they have sacrificed for the sake of total all the time, thinking about samashti, samashti. In the earlier second case, some people around them they were working at the Swadhisthana level. But at the Vishuddha Chakra level, not somebody others. They are talking from the total standpoint. Like in whole country is to be taken care, not a particular state or district. That type of attitude of looking from the total standpoint is called as reaching to the Vishuddha Chakra sthiti, where the individual is always thinking, worried, concerned about total. And from there, when one goes to the Agnya Chakra, even the total is not his concern is what is the substratum of all that drama that is happening inside and outside. If that place one is able to reach, then one is at the Agnya Chakra level. This is Agnya Chakra. Here is, they say there is a Guru Sthana. It is called Ishvara Sthana. Here is the Ishvara Sthaname. We will, like the Ishvara is the identify the totality, this person also, by the blessing of Ishvara or by the demand of Ishvara, as ordained by the Ishvara, he only is working for the whole world total. He is not worried about the lower koshas and lower life. He is in the same body. But in the body, that jiva in him had risen in his own evolution to that level. You understand? That can be felt. And through the conscious sadhana also we can experience this. There are very many ways. Either you do the sadhana said now and feel yourself lifted to the higher chakra, or through the yoga prakriyas, lift yourself into the higher chakra and ensure the reaching of higher chakras in your own self, observing your own attitude now. सो देह तादात्म्य को छोड़कर मूलाधार से ऊपर आना, या मूलाधार से ऊपर आने का प्रयत्न करके if we really came out of it, went inside more higher than the Muladhara, then our Deha Tadatma should not be there. In that we have to test it. It is either way. Totally detached from Dehosmi. Then you can see you are not at the Muladhara level, you are at the Swadhisthana. Or through the Yoga Prakriya. What is Yoga Prakriya? Through the variety of the techniques of the pranayamas, consciously bringing my identity, my individuality or individual me to the Muladhara level, and through the Yoga Shakti or Yoga Kriyas or Pranayama Kriyas, pushing myself from the Muladhara to the next, which is very tough. You have to do for years and years, lives and lives of variety of the pranayama prakriya to control all the physiological functions, then recognize your identity and bring your own identity to the Muladhara level, the identity which is scattered to the entire body and the world through various nadis, through mainly this Ida Pingala and other nadis. Like, who am I now at this moment? A reckless, a careless, a non-specific individuality scattered everywhere. Got lost. इंद्रियों से दुनिया को देखता हूँ, मन से दुनिया का सोचता हूँ, दिमाग से और कुछ कर रहा हूँ. I am a scattered personality everywhere, not available to be held by me. It's a very subtle thing what I am sharing. And that individuality through pranayama gathered from all runnings. And that individuality is taken to the Muladhara. And from there, through all variety of pranayama, which I don't know any time, I can't even understand all that much, but this is true. Then that individuality, they push from the Muladhara to up above. When this is done, the Dehaditadatma is being risen away. Other way, what we do easy for us is what? देह तादात्म्य को छोड़ोगे तो automatically you go from Muladhara to here. How to give up the Deha Tadatma? We have seen it 2 days back. When this Deha is fully utilized only in serving the total Deha, so then we give up the Tadatma with this Deha. You understand? This is how we do it. Else, this body is me, and to cater to need of body, whatever required, that only I do. That's the lowest level of life. Not allowed for the individuality. Okay. Then in this way, we said the both prakriyas. In the same way, when we go and identify with everybody's pranamaya kosha and cater to the bhook hunger of everyone, then we transcend our particular pranamaya kosha or our own swadhisthana we reach to. In this way, instead of loving only ourselves, when we love everyone, then we come to our own inner third chakra called as the Manipura, what they call it as. Manipura, not as a Manipur Impal, one of the states of India. Manipura. Then the Atmiyata, when everybody identified with me as my own self, then we are in the Anahatam. Then all these things is okay. The total, the cosmos also is taken into account. And we are looking from that standpoint, we are slowly coming to Vishuddhi Chakra, where the point of attention always is universe. Then at the Agnya level, we surrender to the Guru and only seek the ultimate truth. Other than Paramatma or substratum, nothing else is focused when we are at the Agnya Chakra. That's why it's Guru Sthanam. If we invoke the Guru here, he will always teach us what is truth or ultimate. Or when we are going to the Guru, regularly studying Shastra, and only on the thought given by the Guru about the self we are contemplating, then with this prakriya, which is again upasana, we discover our identity at the Agnya level. The result of which it is, we are not concerned about the individual total of the Vishuddha, nor about the identity with the total, nor love for the total, nor serving the total. None of them are botheration. Botheration is knowing the truth. And that, when is deeply contemplated, having taught by the Guru, then from this Agnya, through this Sahasraram, we eject out to identify with the Paramatma everywhere existing. That is what the Yoga Prakriya. It has to be very or thoroughly studied under the guidance of the Gurus, and we have to do a lot of contemplation. Then only the ideas will come to us more clearly. Vedanta is easier than anything else. So here he says, Hrudayat Urdhvam. See, Hridaya is ke Urdhvam. Pravrutta Sushumna Nama Nadi. A Nadi is there, Sushumna. It is not ear or ear, अंदर से होता है, ऊपर नहीं, बाहर नहीं, पीछे नहीं, अंदर से सुषुम्ना नाड़ी योग शास्त्रेषु प्रसिद्धा. And this is not a gross nadi. If you do the X-ray of it or anything, it is not seen. But sukshma. That's a sukshma nadi it is. All the three nadis are not physiological. They are all subtler. And what physiological nadis we see spread all out throughout the body, every one of them are the hardware through which the sukshma nadis function, bringing all the subtle energies to make them all the works done, to make them do all the works. Actually, the sukshma ke liye sthul hota hai. And we don't know that sukshma because your overpowering identity with the sthula is so much that we don't focus on that. So, Yoga Shastreshu Prasiddha Sacha, and that nadi Antarena Madhye. So, we are reading that Antarena Taluke Ya Eshastani, wo wala portion, jo sixth Anuvaka, we are studying it. Ki Sacha Antarena means Madhye Taluke means Talukayoho Gataha. Gataha. So, that Sushumna nadi. Inside it's a straight nadi from the heart. It is starting from the Mooladhara, but here in the mantra from the heart is spoken. Therefore, Shankara Bhagavan also explains that, and we are also explaining that. But the idea was already shared 2 days back, yesterday, today also. Unless we grow through the first three chakras and come to the Anahata, the higher we cannot travel. So from the Anahata already, the Hridaya Akasha or Hridaya Antargata Chakra, Bhagavan Shankara is starting. So from here, Antarena Taluke. So Talukayoho Madhye. So in that particular portion, the two talukas are there. In between, there is a small tongue. Usko Konda Naluka Telugu mein kehte hain. So there is a secondary, the tongue is there a flesh portion. That is what, how is it that Madhye Stanaha iva avalambate mamsa khandaha. A piece of flesh hanging there like the stana, the nipple. Through that, the Sushumna nadi is going up above, which started from the Mooladhara and the Anahata, then Madhya Antarena Taluke in the Mamsaganda, that Sukshma chakra is there, which is called as Vishuddha chakra. Either thoda iske upar yahan hota hai. But it is explained as in between the talukas through that Mamsa Khanda. This Mamsa Khanda here said, or the Hrudaya Pundarika Akaram Mamsa Khandaha, it is inverted lotus said, only to bring our attention to that. Because right now, unless something gross is shown or seen, we can't focus attention on that. For the sake of that, it is. Like any upasana of any salagrama, Shivalinga or anything is only because if something is substantial, we'll be able to focus our attention. For the sake of initial attention and concentration, the Sthula Pratima is given. But the idea is not to see the Sthula Pratima. The idea is on this stone we are superimposing our own Ishta Devata Vishnu, it is Salagrama. So what is seen by the eye is the stone only for the concentration of the mana. But what is the upasana prakriya that is done in the mind? That it is not stone, but it is my own beloved God, Vishnu. And to prove for myself that is Vishnu, I am doing all the upasanas to him. So while doing all upasanas, to that stone a living value is added. Avahayami, Stapayami, Padyam Samarpayami. Whom are you doing to? Physically, if you see, you are doing it to the Shalagrama there. But heart in heart, where is your bhavana to? The bhavana is I am doing to the Vishnu. This is called as Upasana. And why this is done? To lift our attention from obviously seen stone to inobviously seen subtle Vishnu Murti, to say to us that something beyond the stone or salagrama is some higher power which is not visible by our indriyas. To focus our attention on that principle, these upasanas are said. Then more and more we do upasana, of course, with the faith only. And with the faith through upasana, whenever conviction about presence of that Paramatma becomes stronger, actually the Vishnu will be coming in front of us and blessing also. Or we are taken into the Vishnu Lok. But the goal is not to have darshana of Vishnu, get the blessings from the Vishnu of this world, nor even to go to Vishnu Loka. Our goal is to know the absolute substratum, which is expressing even as the Vishnu at the samishti level. हमारा गोल तो सीधा परमात्मा ही है. So up to this, what is done? In the Hridaya Pundarika Akasha, you have understood your Purushatva. And now the marga for him to recognize the essential nature is to be taught. Then slowly it is said, there is Sushumna Nadi, which is passing through all the chakras. After this, Anahata, it is there in the Vishuddhi Chakra, which is in between the talukas, through that Mamsa Kanda, which is like Stana Iva Avalambate, which is hanging down there like this Stana. As I am telling you, if you see physically, X-ray, you can't see that. It's a Sukshma Nadi. It is only visualized in the deep contemplative mood. It's only to be visualized. Nadis have to be visualized. When they are visualized, they are actualized. Like Vishnumurti has to be visualized in Salagrama. The visualization attempt of ours reveals the Vishnu who is all pervading in the Salagrama. That is actualization. विजुअलाइजेशन है, वो है तो देखना नहीं है, देखते रहोगे तो वो दिखता है. एंड दे आर ट्रूली देयर बट इन अ वेरी सटल फॉर्म. नहीं है तो कैसे दिखेंगे कभी भी. After upasana, if they are seen means what? They are there but in a subtle form. So the visualization makes us become subtler enough to actualize them, to see them. So that nadi is going from the anahata to urdhva through this the taluka madhya, from that hanging nipple sthana ivarambalite. From there it is going up above. The nadi is going up above. Through that nadi we have to consciously grow. One of the technique, as I told you, the more surrender we do to the totality, the more we from the anahata through vishuddha go up above. And from this, Bhagavan Shankara, Upanishadkar, did not talk about the Agnya, straight away they talked about Sahasra. In each of the Guru's Marga, somebody focuses on the heart and says, in the heart only Paramatma is there, you recognize him there. Somebody says at the throat level, you surrender, it is revealed to you. Somebody says, pursue the jnanam given by the Guru, it will be revealed to you in the Vishuddhi Chakra. Sorry, this Agnya. Somebody says, break open the cranium, through that Sahasrara, go ejected, then you experience it. Each one of us done all of those prakriyas. And it's a big subject. It's a vast oceanic knowledge is there of how that yoga prakriya also given by so many yoga gurus. Right from beginning, we only followed Vedanta Marga. Therefore, we are not much aware of that. That also is a path, definitely. And all these yoga margas are achieved by great, like Gurudev himself is a great yogi. Through Yoga Marga, he has served or supported or guided many sadhakas. Bhagavan Adi Shankara himself is a yogi. Otherwise, how can he leave his body and enter into that king's body for 1 year to go through all experiences of the ordinary human life? And without the Yoga Marga, how can he go from that Kedarnath to Kailasam and bring all these Sukshma Shivalingas manifested as Stula here? These are all not Vedanta Prakriyas. They are all Yoga Prakriyas, Yoga Margas. So Mahayogi Adi Shankara said to be initiated by some great saints, yogic saints. And to them he taught Vedanta. इस तरह से a lot of things are there. I don't ever enter into them. हमको ना जो दिमाग के ज़्यादा heavy लगते हैं मुझे. Only study our Vedanta, in that the Bhashya, and through that try to understand the truth and the means for the truth. It is safest for us. Okay. Then tasya cha antarena iti etat. So from there, this Sushumna, as it is traveling from the antara, where is it going in the body level? Final point. He says, final point. Tasya cha antarena iti etat yatra cha kesha antaha. केश अंत तक उसका पहुंच है सुषुम्ना नाड़ी का. What is keshantaha? Keshanam antaha avasanam moolam. The end portion of the hairs. Actually, from the standing hair up above, नीचे देखा जाए, so that is the beginning, this is the end. ऐसा यहाँ कहा गया. But really, if you see, it is the beginning point. From there, the hair starts and growing up. You can call technically in English, I don't have language, hair follicles you can take, say it as. जहां से हेयर शुरू होता है is a central portion. Then it goes on growing. If you don't cut it 30, 40 years, you can see big jata also is coming. So, yatra asau keshantaha. What is said in mantra, Shankara Bhagavan is doing commentary of that only. See, so he is an antarena taluke stana iva avalambate. That is what he says. So, then where is he going? Anta avasanam यत्र च केशान्तः केशानामन्तः अवसानं मूलं विवर्तते विभागेन वर्तते मूर्धप्रदेशे इत्यर्थः. Simply it is on the head, cranium it is called. Keshantah vivartate, central portion. Exactly in the center of the deha, the Sushumna Nadi, very sublime it is there. And that is visualized. And unless one pulls one pranas, unnecessarily getting distracted through Ida and Pingala because of all other activities or goals other than Paramatma, unless that is done, the vision of the Sushumna and traveling of the Prana Shakti, along with the Prana Shakti, the Jiva, through the Sushumna Nadi, inside breaking each of the chakra, in the experience transcending each of the Stula Upadhi, that cannot happen. So, a disciplined, regulated life makes the me stopped from traveling into the under two nadis of Ida Pingala, which are absolutely samsara margas. With a full disciplined life from the samsara marga, I come to the sadhana marga. In that sadhana marga, through the Sushumna, the prana shakti is sent up above, and through the prana shakti, I, the jiva, also travel. While I am traveling through Sushumna Nadi, inside through the Yoga Marga, what are its consequences? In general Vyavahara, one is transcending in his identity and involvement with the grossness or the worldliness or the externality. उपाधियों का परे अपने आप को जान रहा है. नहीं तो हम तो फिलहाल fully with the upadhis, that also maximum अन्न and prana. मन के साथ हम अन्न प्राण के लिए जो चाहिए वही करते हैं. This mana intellect is never used for pursuit of the truth. Totally zero about the Paramatma. Our life is only khao, piyo, so jao, mar jao, fir se janam lo. This is called as the non-spiritual marg of samsara. And the one who is in Ida Pingala, he is the one in like that. Then the one who is going through Sushumna is a pakka, decided sadhaka. To that sadhaka, again through various sadhanas, he is doing the Vedana of Chakra and going and up and up in that way. So here he says, Antaha avasana moolam vivartate vibhagena vartate murdha pradeshi iti artaha. Up to this, that Sushumna Nadi is there. Tam desham prapya. Having consciously lifted one's prana shakti, along with prana shakti, one's own identity to that level of the shirsha, tam desham prapya tatra vinisruta tena antarena vyapohya vibhajya vidarya Shirsha kapale, shirah kapale, vinirgata ya sa. There, in a subtle manner, the closed up cranium. It is called here as Shirsha Kapale Vidiriya, means Vyapohya. Having detached from that or piercing through that Shirsha Kapala, one rises one's identity beyond this Panchakosha Yukta, Panchamahabhuta Yukta, this Deha Tadatmya. So he is rising above his Deha Tadatmya fully finally by lifting his Aham through the Chakra Vedanam or Sushumna Nadi. At the final point, the Shirsha Kapalaka Vyapohanam Karke, Vidiranam Karke goes out. It's just like you are inside the room opening the door and coming out. This is all in Yoga Marga, it is said. In Vedanta Marga, through Viveka, the Atma and Atma Viveka, Jada Chetana Viveka, then Druk Drusha Viveka, the Duk Srupa Atma Swarupa Chaitanya Atma, how we reach out. And what is experienced there, what is experienced through this Marga is same. Each of the rishis considered these different paths to reach to that ultimate, the truth. This also is very valid and Shastric path only. Not a Ashastriya Marga, nahi, ye bhi Shastriya Marga. There are very many Shastra, Yoga Shastras. You know, all these, the Saundarya Lahari texts, and many of the texts written by Yoga Taravali इत्यादि आदि शंकरा बहुत सारे हैं जो हम नहीं पढ़े जिसमें ये सारे भी दिए हुए हैं. See in Bhagavad Gita 8th chapter, है ना, ओम इत्येकाक्षर ब्रह्म व्याहरन् माम अनुस्मरन् य प्रयाति त्यजन् देहं सयाति परमां गतिम. When he says that only मूर्ध्नि आदाय आत्मनः प्राणम आस्थितः योगधारणाम. Like when Arjuna asked him, Prayana Kalecha Katham Gneyosi Niyatatmavihi. How you are realized, O Lord, by the sadhaka, when that sadhaka is ejecting out of the deha. For that, Bhagavan answers. After answering the 6 questions, Kim Tadharma, Kim Adhyatmam, Kim Kama Purushottama, Adibhutam cha Kim Proktam, Adidaivam Kim Uchyate, Adhyagna Katham Kotra, Dehe Sinman Sudana, Prayana Kalecha Katham Gneyosi Niyatatmavihi. भगवान एव अक्षरम ब्रह्म परमं स्वभावोद्यात्म मुच्यते भूत भावोद्भवकरः विसर्ग कर्म संज्ञितः अधिभूतं क्षरो भावः पुरुषश्चादिदैवतम् अधियज्ञोहमेवात्र देहे देहपदामर अंतकाले च मामेव सर्वमुक्ता कलेवरं यप्यातेन्द्रियं स्यात् परमांगतिम् अनन्यचेता सततं योमास्मृतः तस्याहं परमपार्थ नित्यस्य योगिना. Then all that he is saying that he says in that Bhagavad Gita in the Ashtamodhyaya, the yoga prakriya only for one to reach to the Paramatma by transcending these Dehatadhatma through that yoga marga. We can see there, see, Abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasa na anyagamina paramam purusham divyam yati partana chintayan, then kavim purana manushastaram, all of that he says, prayana kale manasa achalena bhaktya yukta yoga balena chaiva, see yoga balena. Then Bhruvor Madhye Pranamaveksha Samyak Satam Param Purushamupaiti Divyam. Then again he says in the later on slokas, Sarva Dvarani Samyamya Mano Hrudi Nirudhyacha Murdhri Adhaya Atmanaha Pranam Astita Yoga Dharanam. Then Om Iti Ekaksharam Brahma Vyaharan Ma Manusmaran Ya Prayati Tejandeham Sayati Paramam Gatim. So therefore, Bhagavad Gita is the Upanishad Sara. Once more it is proved. So what is said in the Upanishad, in the Taittiriya, is again explained in Gita. And what is said in Taittiriya and Gita is said in the Yoga Shastra Marga. That also sanctioned, valid, authorized, approved, and reality giving, result giving path. And we have spoken only 0.01% because this is हमको भी नहीं पता. But we are studying academically the Upanishad, the what is said in Bhashya, we are trying to understand it. So Vyapohya Shirsha Kapale. So I, the Jiva, whom I found myself in the heart, is lifting my identity from this place to slowly through this Vishuddha Chakra up to the cranium. There the Shirsha Kapal ka Vyapohan karke, then he goes out. Goes out what? from the identification only with this Panchakoshatmaka Deha to the total. In the total also, if he has done in the Hridaya the Upasana of the Atma, then in the total he will realize the Brahma. But if he has done the Upasana of the other four Vyahrutis, then these four individual Vyahrutis, from wherever the total Vyahruti they came, to those total Vyahrutis he gets identified. That is what the different siddhis such people get through this yoga marga. In Vedanta marga, no siddhi, jo kuch bhi ho sab chodna. In yoga marga, all the siddhis come, but every one of them are temptations. One has to give up the attachment to them, then only he can recognize the self. Now what happened there? Tam desham prapya, having reached to the cranium, tatra vinisruta, tena antarena, having stayed there, tena antarena in the central portion, vyapohya, vibhajya, vidarya. व्यपोहन करके विभाजन करके विदारण करके व्हाट इज दैट शीर्ष कपाले शिरा कपाले द शिरा कपाल भाग विनिर्गता when one leaves, yeah, that way of traveling is called as sa indrayonihi. Sa indrayoni. What is the indrayoni? Indrasya brahmanah yonihi margaha. This is the path to reach to the Brahma according to the yoga. So in the mantra, what is came? Sendra yonihi. Vyapohya shersha kapale. Sendra yonihi. So we have to remember what is said in the Upanishad, what is commented by Shankara Bhagavan, and what is said in the Yoga Marga. तीनों आप मन में लाकर पहले श्लोक याद होना है. Then how the shloka is being explained, we have to listen to that, understand. So, यह हृदय आकाश तस्मिन्नयं पुरुषो मनोमयः अमृतो हिरण्मयः हो गया. देन अंतरेण तालुके स्तनैवावलंबते. भगवान एक्सप्लेन. Then slowly from the stanaivavalambate he is going up. How is that? Stayendra yonihi is already said here, but in the mantra, but बाद में explain करेंगे. Yatrasau keshanto vivartate. Then this Sushumna Nadi is up to the Keshanta. And having reached to the top of this Sushumna Nadi, which is ending at the Sahasrara level, breaking that blockade, which are together, end of Sushumna and beginning of Sahasrara, उसको क्रेनियम पे होता है पॉइंट. व्यपोह शीर्ष कपाले. Having broken up that and gone out, that is called Indra Yonihi. What is Indra Yonihi? It is Indrasya Brahmana Yonihi Marga. That is a marga to realize the Brahma, which is a substratum of the entire universe. So, means Swarupa Pratipatti Dwaram Ityartaha. That is the way one enters into the Swarupa Anubhuti. And there also again two options are there. Either he can have the Swarupa Jnanam depending on while recognizing in the heart only, if he has recognized the pure self. But while recognizing Jiva in the heart, if he has done the Upasanas for the variety of Vyahrutis, then he, while consciously going out of the cranium, he will be identified with the Samashti. That is what is the entire Farashruti said. Sometimes one seeks that and goes through that and enjoys that for some time and leaves and goes to the ultimate. Sometimes it is given to him, he may take it. Many times he sees them but rejects them and goes directly into the path of Aham Brahmas. All are possible. That's why you see in this world there are Brahmagnani, Brahmanishta hai, Mahayogi Brahmanishta bhi hai, only yoga sthiti mein abhi hai, Brahma ko abhi nahi paaye. They are all having all siddhis, with that they serve the world. It is an entertainment to them. They know one day they have to give up all that also and then reach to Parabrahma. And all these siddhi they are having because they are identified now no more with the individual upadhis, the Bhurva Swaha. They are identified with the total for the Samashti Upadhi called as Mahaha. Now, when we study this, then you will be able to catch it. How it starts? Taya evam vidwan. That is why Manomaya Atmadarshi. The Vidwan who has understood him to be the Jiva, the Manomaya Atmadarshi, Murdhana Vinishkramya, when he consciously rejects of the Murdhana Bhaga from the Shirsha Kapala, क्या होता है उसके बाद अस्य लोकस्य अधिष्ठाता भूः इति व्याहृति रूपः यः अग्निः महतः सः ब्रह्मण अंगभूतः तस्मिन् अग्नौ प्रतितिष्ठति. Is a huge thing it is. Be carefully listening it, you'll catch it. So always remember the anga is what? Angi is what? Brahma. And to that Brahma who is a Maha, the angas are the Bhurbhuvasva Vyahartis. Okay. Now the one who has done Upasana on the Bhuhu Vyaharti, which is an anga. And to this anga Bhuhu Vyaharti, the Angi at the total level is Agni. To that Agni gets identified into. Means that Moola Tattva of the entire Bhumi is called Agni Tattva. With that Agni Tattva he gets identified. Bhuhu iti Agnau Pratitishthati is the mantra. Bhagavan Shankara explains Bhuhu iti Vyahrit Rupaha Yaha Agnihi Mahataha Brahmanaha Angabhutaha Tasmin Agnau Pratitishthati. तो परब्रह्म रूपी अंगी का अंगभूत अग्नि जिसमें से भू व्याहृति निकला है उस अंगी से ही विल उस अग्नि से ही विल गेट आइडेंटिफाइड एंड दैट इज व्हाई यू विल सी the bhumi is particular shaped and named. Bhumi means all the solid named formed things, and all the formed things have come from the agni only. That's what we discussed it in earlier topics. Before the Agni, the other two Sukshma Tattvas called as Vayu and Akasha, they don't have form. The form is there from the Agni only. So Agni only gives form to the Jala and also to the Bhumi. Therefore, to the Bhumi, if it is solidly is there without disintegrating into formlessness, and it is in the solid form, the cause of the Bhumi to be in its solid form is the Agni Tattva. Bhumi means everything on the Bhumi, and when the Bhumi is said, everything contained in the Bhumi is understood. All of that is rooted in the Agni Tattva. The one who has done the Upasana of the Bhuhu Vyahrati, then he, when he leaves this cranium, he reaches to the substratum of the entire Bhutattva called is the Agni. Bhurityagno Pratitishthati. And then what will happen to that person when he is identifying the Bhutattva? Then, first of all, either he is not at all identified with any of these Sthula Deha, or he can be identified with the total Sthula Deha or any Sthula Deha or any number of Sthula Deha anywhere. Because it's with Agni now. Agni is one Sukshma Tattva, one without second, undifferentiable. From that Agni only, the total Bhumi, and from the Bhumi only, the individual Rupas came. Because he is identified with Agni Tattva, इस जगत में पूरे भूमि से भी और उसमें रहने वाले किसी से भी प्राण स्थूल शरीर से he can get identified. He can function through them. The one who identifies Agni Tattva, either he knows what is happening in every physiological structure, or he can even command them, order them, function through them. These are very subtle siddhis. Not easily understandable at our this level, जो अभी अभी हम start कर रहे हैं. But when we are in this marga for 10-12 lives, not 10-12 days, 10-12 जन, इसमें है ये सारा पिक्चर धीरे धीरे क्लियर होगा. Please remember, we are only in the play school of our spiritual sadhana while studying these Upanishads. Because I am who is talking to you, I myself am at the play school level. Play school level teacher play ही सिखाता है. He cannot teach the 10th, 12th degree standard. He himself is not studied, not known. So we are just starting our journey. Keep all that in mind and never be worried or afraid if these subtle things are not comprehended. It's only introduction. As we grow in our sincerity, in our deep urge to know the truth, Bhagavan by his infinite grace will make us reveal all these things to us. So, Bhurityagno Pratitishthati. So, Bhu Vyaharti Upasaka gets Pratishtita in identity with the Mula of this Bhuvyarti called as Agni. In the same way, the one who is doing the Upasana Bhuva Vyahruti, and with that background of the Upasana Bhuva Vyahruti done, when he rejects or goes out of the cranium, he gets into what? Vayav. ओके द अंतरिक्ष लोक में जो घूमता है वायु फ्रॉम द वायु ओनली द अंतरिक्ष लोक इज सस्टेनिंग एंड एग्जिस्टिंग so he gets identified with the vayu which is the substratum of the antariksha bhuvariti vayu therefore in the antariksha loka whatever the lokas are there whatever the beings are there he will be able to identify with them command them. And again, remember, these are all preceded by what? What we said at the initial days that this person consciously was involving in the serving of the other dehas with his deha, serving of the other pranamaya kosha with the pranas with his prana, serving the other mana with his mana. This is called as upasana bhurbhuvasva. This leads to that next stage of identity with the total. मतलब क्या है मैं इंडिविजुअल उपाधियों के तादात्म्य को छोड़कर टोटल उपाधि के साधना सेवा कर रहा हूं तो मैं टोटल उपाधि से तादात्म्य का शक्ति पाता हूं दैट्स इट इफ यू पुट इट इन सिंपल वर्ड्स ऑन द अदर हैंड if I only cater to individual upadhi I always remain only at this level even in millions of lives. And one backdrop line we should never forget is what? It is Parabrahma Paramatma only. Whether it is Samashti or Vesti Rupadhi, He alone is there in and through them, who is our ultimate goal. But these are all the processes of the prakriyas to take us from what we are to from where we are to what we are. So prakriyaye hai bas. So in the same way, Suvaritya Aditya, the one who is doing Upasana and the Suvabhyahrati, he will reach to the Aditya Lok. What about the Maha Upasana Karne Wala? Maha iti Brahmani. The one whose focus of attention was on the fourth Vyahruti Maha, he will be identified with the total Maha called as Hiranyagarbha. So the total Mahat is Hiranyagarbha, then total Agni, Vayu, Aditya are there. And to that I identify with when I do the Upasana Bhurbhosva Vyahrati. While rejecting this Deha through the Shirsha Kapala, when I go, where I go is I. I get identified with that. Then it is the experience of I, which is now identify these koshas and saying only this me. Instead of this, he will be able to visualize his identity with the world, like the mother sees her identity with the children. The loving boss is his identity with the entire the subordinates. You know, a team leader looks his identity with the entire team members. No, there is a way or not, in spite of the gross physical differences, heart in heart, can't we see our identity with others? We are seeing it. That is why we are able to be together. Same thing through sadhana. When we evolve, it will be experienced with the total identity. Then what is the expression of such person when he identifies Mahat Tattva? He says, Apnoti Swarajyam, Apnoti Manasaspatim. These are all the beautiful Phalashruti. We will discuss it tomorrow. Then after that, the total thought we'll try to again explain to catch it more clearly. Come tomorrow, I will see that. Okay, once more we will see the entire topic, right from discovering ourselves as the Jiva in the heart up to ejecting out of this cranium, the Sahasrara, and then identifying the totality at the Vyahruti substratum level or the Mahatka substratum Rupi Brahma level. Brahma here is Hiranyagarbha. Here still we have not talked about Parabrahma Tattva. Before Parabrahma Tattva, from the individual to the total, we are rising in our identification. Through the pranayama, through the yoga prakriya, through the chakra bhedanam, even through external sevas, which is a long process. For million lives, you have to do seva outside, then you will slowly promote it. And in the Vedanta Marga, all this is bypassed. Just aham pure Shuddha Sadghana Chidghana Brahma Asmi. That is achieved through the deep inquiry as we saw it in the Mandukya, the Upanishads. Even in all other Upanishads also, in this. Never our Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, कुछ भी वहाँ discussion होता ही नहीं वहाँ. थोड़ा थोड़ा जहाँ तक अंतःकरण थोड़ा हमारा अवेलेबल है वेदांत के लिए, that much is only taught. So today we just got an information regarding the yoga marga. Through that also one can reject out of individual to become the total. That's why all the yogis are siddha purushas. वो कमांड करते हैं तो सब होता है. All this we'll see tomorrow. सर्वम गुरु चरणारविंदार्पणमस्तु. ओम 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 पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. परम ऋषिभ्यो नमः. परब्रह्मणे नमः. श्रुतिमात्रे नमः. ओम तत्सद्ब्रह्मार्पणमस्तु. Thank you friends. Let us study Viduraniti for some time.